It is August 1842 and lovely weather in the south of Ireland. A gentle breeze is rustling the hanging leaves of the willow trees lining the River Lee's riverbank. A group of 3 young boys, Evans, Lane and Alan, the oldest aged only 13, joined their friends to bathe in the river by the weirs between the city of Cork and the fields that fill its outskirts. The water is great, but the boys know there is more fun to be had. And right in the first field beyond the weirs, small celery-like leaves on hollow cow parsnip-like stalks sway in the wind. And the boys find exactly what they are looking for. The smell of parsnip fills the air as they pluck the thick parsnip-shaped roots. From the roots they craft popguns and flutes. And amidst the play they swallow no more than tiny pieces the size of the tip of one's finger. Soon after, the 3 make their way home. Just a short distance later, the oldest of the 3, Evans, suddenly gives a leap and collapses, receiving a severe injury of the forehead. In the act of assisting or attempting to raise him, the other 2 boys also collapse. The 3 lie helpless, stuck in a state of stupor, only responding to pain as they convulse more and more violently. 2, Lane and Alan, are brought to the dispensary, and Evans to the Foundling Hospital. Emetics and other means are tried without effect. For one of them, the spasm of the jaw is so violent that no emetic can be introduced. Only a few hours after ingestion of the poison, all 3 boys pass away. The presumed cow parsnip turned out to be one of, if not the most poisonous plant in the world. The hemlock water dropwood. But let's rewind a bit, because if we want to determine which plant truly is the most poisonous plant in the world, then we first have to acknowledge that there are different ways a plant can be poisonous. You can be poisoned by touching a plant, by smelling it, or by eating it. You can also be poisoned by secondary poisoning. That we will have a look at later. This results in a variety of very different dangers, so let's take a look at how they compare. At the same time, we are working our way up to the most deadly of poisons. Let me know down in the comments which poisonous plants you've encountered, what I've missed, and what you'd like me to cover in my next video. Now, if you live in North America, you may have heard the saying, "Leaves of 3, let them be." And that's for good reason, because it covers not only the well-known poison ivy, but also the poison oak and the poison sumac. All 3 of these 3-leaved poison plants share the same poison, ruschiol, an oil that causes swelling and a blistering rash on contact, though that response may be delayed by several days. If you know that an object has come into contact with the plant, do not touch it, because the oil lingers. However, you are able to wash the oil off with soap and warm water if you act immediately, that is, within 5 to 10 minutes of contact. Meanwhile, the giant hogweed, I quote, can make a case of poison ivy seem like a mild itch. Another member of the carrot family, just like the hemlock water dropwood, the giant hogweed is also often mistaken for a parsnip, though its astonishing size can be a great distinguishing feature, growing up to a towering 5 meters tall. I mean, look at this. It's incredible, really. That's exactly why it's called a giant hogweed. I'm glad he's wearing gloves, by the way. Anyway, native to the Caucasus, the giant hogweed is nowadays commonly found as an invasive species in North America and Europe. The plant is covered by a clear watery sap, which contains several phytotoxic compounds. About 15 minutes after contact, these toxins are activated by humidity, including your sweat, and sunlight. They then damage your DNA as well as cause 2nd and 3rd degree burns. In fact, I can confirm this personally, since my brother has experienced this. The toxins have also been reported to be carcinogenic, meaning they can cause cancer, which makes sense to me considering they are damaging the DNA. When the plant is cut or plucked or otherwise disturbed, you should hold your breath and leave, because the small particles in the air can attack your lungs, and if you get sap in your eyes, it can cause blindness. Meanwhile, the manchineel tree's milky sap contains so many different toxins that we have still not identified them all. It can also cause skin irritation, burns, and temporary blindness. However, since the manchineel tree's toxins are water-soluble, when you stand underneath it in the rain, you will burn. The onset begins a few minutes after exposure and develops into severe burning within an hour. When cutting or burning the manchineel tree, particles are released that are hazardous to the skin, eyes, and respiratory system, meaning your lungs, trachea, etc. The smoke can also cause temporary painful blindness, and some of the compounds are carcinogenic as well. Due to its all-round toxicity, the manchineel tree has also been added to the 2011 Guinness Book of Records for being the most toxic tree, though keep in mind it is neither the most lethal nor responsible for the most deaths. These plants serve as poignant examples of posing a poisonous threat by means of touch and breathing in the air around them. Needless to say, eating any of these will also cause poisoning. However, you still stand a pretty good chance to survive and tell the tale, especially if you receive treatment. Their danger is especially noteworthy not due to the strength of their poison, but rather their ability to poison you just by existing nearby. Once we focus on ingestion, on taking that bite, that's when we encounter the most violent of poisons. Once again, let's work our way up. The castor oil plant holds the 2002 Guinness World Record for the most poisonous common plant based on the amount it takes to kill a human. That said, I would not select this criterion to determine the most poisonous plant alone. After all, who eats only 70 micrograms of a plant? Furthermore, the plant does give you more time to react than some other plants, as the first symptoms of poisoning begin after 4 to 6 hours, sometimes up to 3 days later. This allows you to seek out treatment, giving you a great chance of survival, as, while there is no cure, it has been reported that about 98% of people who ingest its toxin, ricin, and receive proper treatment, survive. Despite these good odds, ricin is nothing to be scoffed at, because like its chemical cousin abrin from the rosary pea, it is a protein that disrupts the production of other proteins by your cells, resulting in cell death, which can eventually lead to your death. Meanwhile, the monkshood genus of plants is sometimes regarded as some of the most poisonous plants in Western and Central Europe. About 90 minutes after eating any part of any of its species, its main toxin aconite attacks your heart as well as your nerves. In addition to vomiting, abdominal pain, diarrhea, and breathing problems, it can cause a lethal heart attack. And yet, you are likely to survive if you receive treatment in time, as the overall in-hospital mortality is relatively low at 5.5%. Oleanders are a common sight in many gardens, including our own, and even the terrace of our local ice cream parlor that helped us through the heatwave. And yet, if one of its pretty pink or yellow petals lands on your frozen delight, do refrain from the bite, because the common yellow and climbing oleanders contain toxic cardiac glycosides that attack your heart. Related toxins are also found in foxglove and the oleander's even deadlier, taller sibling, the pong-pong tree. As little as 1 to 2 seeds of the pong-pong tree's fruit releases enough cerbrin into your body to cause vomiting and diarrhea while attacking your heart, resulting in the most horrific last hour of your life before your heart ultimately fails, if no treatment is received. Taking the lives of 573 people over the span of 10 years in Kerala alone, the pong-pong tree is responsible for the most deaths by poison among all trees. Astonishingly, to treat pong-pong poisoning, medical practitioners often make use of atropine, the toxin of the deadly nightshade. And yet, what stands out as the most violently poisonous is the hemlock plants. Often misleadingly referred to as just the water-hemlock, the 4 species of true water-hemlocks, the hemlock water dropwort, and the poison hemlock, closely resemble each other in appearance and poison. I will be referring to these 6 species as the hemlocks, though there is also the eastern hemlock, which is an unrelated edible evergreen tree. All 6 of them have been referred to, time and time again, as one of, if not the most poisonous plant in any given country or region, sometimes the entire world. And that is for good reason. Because only a few milligrams of the water hemlock's main toxin, cicotoxin, can prove lethal. The hemlock water dropworts or enanthotoxin closely resembles cicotoxin, including the high concentration in the tubers, the symptoms, and the lethality. The same counts for the poison hemlock's main toxins, lambda conicine and coneine. If you take any small bite of a hemlock tuber, you will initially notice nothing. In fact, their roots reportedly have a sweetish pleasant taste and aroma. However, a timer has now been set, and if you're very lucky, you have about 10 hours. If you're less lucky, you have 1 to 2 hours. And if you're unlucky, you have 15 minutes. You're then suddenly seized by violent convulsions and tonic-clonic seizures, in addition to vomiting, frothing at the mouth, and confusion. But the poison does not stop there. As the violent convulsions grow more and more intense and prolonged, you're dragged into a coma or a state of stupor, the latter making you unresponsive to everything except for the strongest stimuli, such as pain. All the while, your muscles degenerate and die, including in your heart, and even your kidney may fail. There's no antidote for any of the hemlock's main toxins, and the best chance of saving you is to help you breathe and manage your symptoms. which may persist for up to 72 or even 96 hours. If the poisoning is too severe, you may suffocate or suffer a heart attack. If you receive no treatment at all, you have a few hours left to live at most. What makes them even more dangerous is how easily they are mistaken for other edible species in the carrot family, such as celery or, most often, parsnips. They even smell like fresh turnips. It has also been described on several occasions that children and adults alike collected hemlock roots from a stream after livestock had dug them up. This leaves little room for identification. The true story told at the beginning of this video also closely resembles several similar cases in Germany. Left to play unsupervised, children gathered the supposed parsnip stems and tubers to craft deadly flutes and whistles. Due to these repeated cases, the government and police were urged time and time again to act. The Potsdam government and the Berlin police headquarters issued warnings in the official gazettes, and, after quite some discussion, a Prussian police ordinance was set in place in 1818. Had it been thoroughly enforced, the water-hemlock would no longer exist in Berlin and Brandenburg today. As mentioned, these fatalities were not limited to children either. While severe adult poisonings are uncommon, there are cases where poisonous hemlock roots were collected from a stream and added to a curry, or directly plucked from the field and eaten. The poison of the hemlocks has also been well known throughout history. In fact, when sentenced to death, famous Greek philosopher Socrates drank and succumbed to the juice or extract of the poison hemlock way back in the year 399 BC. Now, determining which of these hemlock plants is the most poisonous is a bit tricky, because we would need more data for each of them to really be certain. However, there are some findings that we can take into consideration. When it comes to the poison hemlock, it was described in an 11-case report in Italy that usually people are poisoned indirectly by eating small birds or rabbits that have consumed hemlock buds, even after the animals were frozen for storage. For the water hemlocks, a 30% case fatality has been reported. Meanwhile, for the hemlock water dropwort, a mortality of approximately 70% has been reported. This suggests that the hemlock water dropwort may be the most poisonous plant in the world. That said, it is important to note that the data we have available, in English, is largely based on observations in the more developed and the western parts of the world. There very well may be an even more poisonous plant out there. However, there's one thing that I mentioned that I want to draw special attention to. The poison hemlock can poison you indirectly by you eating animals that ate the plant. That right there is secondary poisoning. And while the hemlocks may be the most violently poisonous, they did not cause the most deaths with their poison. One of the deadliest poisonous plants in the world is the white snakeroot. Why? Because while the poison hemlock poisons meat and the rhododendron turns honey into the poisonous mad honey, the white snakeroot poisons milk. Have you ever heard of milk sickness? In the early 19th century, as American settlers expanded into new territory with the herds in the Midwest, healthy people suddenly fell ill within the span of just a few days. They were bedridden with vomiting, often followed by coma and eventually death. This strange sickness seemed inexplicable, and there was no record of anything similar anywhere else in the world. And yet, what eventually became known as the milk sickness was not the work of witches or cursed land. No, it was the white snakeroot that took the lives of thousands of Americans, reportedly including Nancy Hanks Lincoln, Abraham Lincoln's mother. When lactating animals such as cows eat the white snakeroot, not only are they poisoned themselves, the plant's fat-soluble alcohol trematol also concentrates in the milk, leading to lethal secondary poisoning. While Anna Pierce pioneered research into the poison of the white snakeroot and its connection to milk sickness, it wasn't until the early 20th century that this connection was officially recognized. By then, in some parts of Indiana and Ohio, up to half of the early settlers had been killed by the white snakeroot. And yet, by far the deadliest poisonous plant in the whole world is not the white snakeroot. It is tobacco. The leaves and smoke of the tobacco plant contain over 4,000 chemicals, the best known of which is nicotine. They attack nearly every organ in the body, causing cancer, heart disease, lung disease, stroke, reduced fertility, weakened immunity, and death. Today, tobacco kills more than 7 million people each year. This includes over 1.6 million non-smokers who are killed by second-hand smoke. Regardless of how you use it, tobacco remains not only harmful, but lethal. There's no safe form or level of exposure. The tobacco epidemic is the most important avoidable cause of death and disease, and one of the biggest public health threats the world has ever faced. Therefore, ultimately, the most lethal poisonous plant is most likely the hemlock water dropwood. The deadliest poisonous plant in the world is undoubtedly tobacco. The white snakeroot may be the deadliest poisonous plant without intentional processing, though that will change if we learn from history and keep our cows away from this inconspicuous plant. I would like to conclude this video with a reminder not only to stay safe and far away from all these plants, but also a reminder that practically any poison can also be a medicine, if professionally extracted and administered in very small doses exactly when needed. Thank you so much for watching till the end and supporting what I do. With this new channel, I'm following my passion for science communication and want to contribute what I can to foster curiosity and a deeper understanding of the world around us. Subscribe for more botanical long-form videos and even closer look at each of these poisonous plants in dedicated shorts, or if you would just like to support what I do further. If you would like and are able to support me even further, you can also find my social media as well as my Patreon and Ko-Fi linked in the description below. I've decided to try building this channel into something that I can do full time, and that is only possible with your support, which includes watching this video, so thank you. And moving forward, I will be uploading regularly, as well as adding more and more perks for Patreon members, such as early access, additional content, exclusive communities, and self-made amigurumi, just like these, crocheted by yours truly. Though I cannot officially confirm these as perks just yet until I have them all figured out, but that is the plan, and I will keep you updated. And if you're watching this in the future, then check my Patreon. Maybe it's already there. And thank you so much for watching, take care, and stay curious.